Hey everybody, this is Aaron here with Get Your Geek On. We are still here in a little quarantine time, but we're still giving you great interviews, guys. So with me today, I have Aaron Schoenke from Bat in the Sun. How's it going, Aaron?
Hey, Aaron. How's it going? I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. I mean, we got the best name out there, man. I mean, it's so much easier right there.
That's true. It's the first name in the alphabet, which is what I thought until I was about 21. And then I realized Aaliyah actually comes before our name in the alphabet. So we're actually second.
You know what? We'll just pretend we're first, though.
Okay.
I'll just
we'll look the other way.
That's what I would do. So, at first I want to say thank you for being here with us. I know everyone's in quarantine right now. So I really want to thank you for giving us some of your time to talk about just Bat in the Sun and the new project you're working on. And kind of with that, I wanted to know, how did you get into like the directing and all that?
Firstly, like I said, glad to be here, and always great to talk with the community. That's a big thing. I grew up being a big, superhero fan, and I grew up in a time when superheroes weren't popular, so it's always cool to kind of, that was a big thing about doing Beatdown, is to spread the, superhero community a little bit. So it's cool to talk and everything. But as far as directing, though, I just been into film, for a really long time. Actually, it's always kind of funny. I always say it started with action figures, because when you're a kid, like 8, 9, you play with action figures. And when you do that, you have your actors, those are your figures. You tell a story in your head, you see angles, So to me, it was like you're making these movies, you just weren't filming them. And then I was given a camera at the age of like 10, and I ended up filming some of my action figures, and I was like, it was pretty cool. I should do this for, a job when I get older. And then basically just kind of progressed from there. I was fortunate to have my father's very artistic. He's a composer, so I ended up kind of working with me all the time and developing those artistic abilities, and just kind of progressed through there. And then growing up in LA, it was just kind of around a lot of it, and you end up putting yourself out there and seeing what other teammates you can find. It's so important. I grew up playing sports, and it creates you a wonderful team atmosphere, and film is such a large unit to create. You need to have a team, so you find other people that have similar interests, and made a lot of short films. This is before YouTube was a thing, and then we made them and we put them online, and they got a lot of exposure. And that was never really the goal. The goal was to just make really cool stuff, and it ended up being out there. And I was also, I was doing stunts in the industry. I was on Deadliest Warrior, a couple other television shows. I did the motion capture for Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man games, doubling Andrew Garfield. And
oh wow!
And so that so understanding the stunt world, and then doing Beatdown and fighting, it all just was kind of there. And what's funny is that actually before I did stunts, I actually did a few short films that were all dialogue based, because I actually like dialogue over action. But then I ended up just falling into it, understanding it so well, that we did Beatdown, and that that took off, and now has like 400 million views online, over 27 episodes. And we ended up working with DC Comic Books, and we ended up doing a feature film for Valiant Comic Books. I worked with Sony, worked with Hasbro. We did their whole live action Power Rangers campaign with Street Fighter, and done some national commercials now with Mobile Strike, which featured Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was amazing. So it's been a really good ride, and now we're doing the White Dragon, an original IP with my good friend JDF, who I've known for 7 years or 8 years, and of course producing this all alongside my father. And it's been it's just been a real joy, a real blessing, and I'm glad that we can create these things that excite the fans, and because I'm a fan, and it's just a whole cool thing,
Exactly. And for those who don't know, Superpower Beatdown, you guys basically pin 2 heroes or 2 villains against each other, kind of like a fight to the death. And then, of course, that is voted by the fans to pick who's going to win, and that's how you determine the ending of it, if I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, okay. we let the fans vote, because superheroes, like, it's kind of funny, because people, they want facts, and I'm like, well, at the end of the day, they're all fictional facts that are constantly changing. Superman's powers have changed every decade, and they reboot these heroes every decade, sometimes twice a decade. So it's kind of hard to say definitively what would this character do or not. You try to find and analyze and being a huge comic fan and probably owning over 10,000 comic books and all the trades and researching to know that, there's little nuances. The most important thing I think to get is their personalities down, because their personalities don't really change too much. Their power levels might, but their personalities. And that is really what determines, I think, your thought in a fight, and that's what's kind of cool is that like in our Beatdown, we use all the different powers, and we adhere to science a lot, because when you're dealing with superheroes, it's all fictional, it's all made up, but you got to find some, a gravity, a foundation that is unchanging, and that is the real world we lie in, the science that we live in,
Yeah.
So we try to find that, and how their power levels deal with that, and then what choices would they make? Obviously, Joker would make very different choices than Superman. So we try to really honor the characters. But at the end of the day, just like the way that the comic book fan, the way that DC and Marvel do things, it's all to basically what the fans feel the characters should be, So we kind of leave it up to them the way that they do. And then the fans, we're not pitting characters like Robin versus Hulk, which clearly, Hulk would win that. We you take Nightwing versus Winter Soldier, and if they fought 10 times, it'd probably be 5-5. But in this case, we got to have a winner. But and even in the sports world, there's upsets.
Exactly.
So it kind of it just depends. But really, it's all just to be fun. We make alternate endings. I think it's kind of great that fans get all charged from who they think should win, but also it's kind of silly because I'm like, it's all made up anyway. It's fun. It's just our debates are supposed to bring us together, not
exactly
separate us. Like, oh, I can't believe I hate you. I can't believe this character won. You're like, it's no one really won. I was like, it's all made up, So
that is true.
It's just to be fun and be like, that was really cool, And I think sometimes people get a little lost in their character won, or people. I'll be at conventions doing panels, and some people will be like mad, and I'll be like, I don't know. You guys voted. I was like, I didn't make that choice. Like, I had nothing to do. I wanted like your character to win too. I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. So it's just kind of funny, the situation but people, I think because the fights look so real and professional, because we're a professionally operating studio, that people feel like they really died or they really lost. And I was like, no, they didn't, like, it's fake. Like, the actor is on stage with me right now. Like, he's like, I don't know, So it's like a credit. I take everything as a compliment. Yeah. But it's just because they get so involved. Like, I think if the quality wasn't good, they wouldn't get so involved. So I love how involved they are. But at the same time, I was like, you should never, and this really goes for anything in life, you should never let your passion ever turn to hate,
Exactly. And I agree with you on that. And, I know you've done a lot of these episodes for Superpower Beatdown, and I know you've made a comment about Jason David Frank, and he is going to be the lead, I'm assuming, in The White Dragon. But he's also done some of the Superpower Beatdown stuff with you, I believe, right? The White Ranger, the Green Ranger as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did White Ranger versus Scorpion, and we did Green Ranger versus Ryu, and then that inspired Saban to want to cross over with their video game with Street Fighter. And then we did a whole big Street Fighter versus Power Ranger, all officially sanctioned with them, and that was really a blast to do as well.
Oh,
so we got a feature. We had Chung-Li in there and Bison, and we had a few other characters. So it was cool.
That's amazing, man. So tell us more about the White Dragon. So I know right now you guys are on Kickstarter. You have a few days left for that. So what is the White Dragon? What's this going to be about?
Well, it is. So we follow the White Dragon, who is JDF, Jason, and it's a little bit of like, we originally pitched the story to Saban about 6 or 7 years ago because we wanted to do a Green Ranger series, and the tale is pretty much like an Old Man Logan type story. And we worked with Saban a little bit on it, and we pitched it to Boom Comics as well, and it's kind of changed now. Obviously, it's its own original thing now, which is it worked out all for the best. Everything happens for a reason. So it's basically him returning from this basically epic battle that happened before it, and we're creating a comic that's also going to explain that. So you have this, we're going to create this trade paperback, 4 comic book collected trade paperback that explains this epic battle of what happened there. And something happened to Jason's character, and now he has returned, and he has to salvage the fallout from that, build himself back up, unite his team, and then overcome the villain that now threatens the city.
That sounds interesting.
I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but I'm trying to it's like always hard to like step around. Like if I say too much, because some fans are like, and I'm the same way. I don't like spoilers at all. So it's like, don't even tell me anything. So I'm like, how can I tell you? How can I say something without? So it's like it's vague but not vague, you know. But
no,
it's gonna be a lot more adult. It's gonna have like Alvin Singh is our fight coordinator, and he did all of Marvel's Netflix series.
Nice.
So, and he does a lot of our beatdowns and stuff too. So the fighting is going to be a lot more adult. It'll be more. I guess if anyone saw that on Netflix, that Extraction movie, it's going to have much more of that feel, and much less of a kids feel. Definitely a lot more adult and badass. Kind of like how The Boys is on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
To the Justice League. That's what this is. So I guess what people what they love about Power Rangers.
That sounds amazing, because I love those shows right there in that movie. So I do want to ask, because I know you said Jason David Frank's in it, but you have said that there might be some other characters or other actors, I should say, I saw online. Is there anyone else you would want to mention that's going to be in the film?
Yeah, we have. If you look it up, we have Jason Fawn. Actually, he used to be a Power Ranger back in Time Force, and we have Rachel Brooks Smith. She's been in a bunch of movies. She was in Nice Guys, Center Stage, Step It Up, Iron Man 2. She's also really big in the fitness world, because we wanted to bring in women that were also very powerful. We want to represent them in a very strong, powerful way. We have King Batch, who is a huge social media star. I'm sure everyone's heard of him. He has like 1 billion followers online, and I've gotten to know him recently, and he's actually a really good stunt performer. He's in amazing shape. Like he's so much more than like a social media star, you know, because a lot of social media stars kind of get written off, and a lot of them are just that, but he's not, though. He's got a lot of other talents, and as a fan of this type of genre, so it just was a easy fit, and plus it's easy to work with, and that's always like a really good thing. But we have Ciara Hanna, who also was a Power Ranger as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was more recently, and I worked with her on the Power Ranger Legacies Wars short, and she was a joy to work with, so we wanted to bring her back. And then we have a few other. We have Kevin Porter, who's our Batman. He's acted in our Batman. Kevin was also in Dodgeball and Daredevil and a bunch of other things. But Kevin's just for me, is a great actor, a great presence, brings a really unique thing, and he'll be in it. And that we just announced yesterday that the main villain of this is Dragon Prime, which actually I will end up playing.
Oh, nice.
So I'll bring a lot of my acrobatics, plus my kind of, I guess, a lot of fans like me as Joker, so I'll kind of bring that kind of evil vibe to the character. But we're building it out as hopefully a very big series, you know, a much bigger series than what we're actually creating, that we can eventually pitch to a streaming network or possibly, you know. So you create a lot of little different things out there. You know, you always got to plan for a bigger future.
Exactly. Got to keep looking ahead. So
yeah. So it's you know.
No, that's cool. So, like, I know you commented a little bit. I just kind of want to ask this too. You know, you've played the Joker in your Superpower Beatdown a few times. Is that the character you like to play, or do you kind of is that who you fell in love with, kind of thing, and you just ran with it, or how did you get into that one?
That one, I got it. Well, I'm a huge Batman fan. That's my favorite character, and Batman Joker obviously are synonymous together. And I love psychology. That's like a big interest for me. That's why I like Batman so much. But Joker is just kind of weird. I honestly don't like the villain. I like the hero. I love my favorite superhero live action is Christopher Reeve as Superman. I like the ho hum, super moral, apple pie Superman. Like that. Like that's my favorite thing. So I don't really like the villain and betraying him, but I guess it's just because my facial structure. I have like resting angry face. Like everyone thinks that I'm angry all the time. Like it happens all the time. Like everyone's like, Aaron, calm down. I was like, I'm not mad. I have really intense features, I guess. I like my eyebrows are intense, the way I speak. Like I get told all the time to like calm down, or like, why are you angry? And I was like, I'm not. I'm like not. So I end up what's funny is I end up talking in my Spider-Man voice, because I was Stan Lee's official Spider-Man. So whenever Stan Lee toured, I was his Spider-Man, and that's how I end up doing the motion capture for the games, and that's how I end up getting Stan Lee to be in one of my beatdowns. But it's like Spider-Man, everything's up. Like, and I'll give you an example here. Like Spider-Man's like hey, everybody, everything goes up. It's wonderful. This is great. Where are we going today? I love cherry popsicles, like whatever it is, but like everything's up. And when you speak, and I've done a lot of like studying like psychology, the way you're supposed to speak, everything goes up. It creates more of a relaxing environment. So I end up having to speak like that. But the problem with that is then I end up, when I go back to my regular speaking voice, then everyone's like, oh my God, Aaron's really mad because that's not how I normally talk. And I was like, oh, but anyway, so what happens with the Joker, I think I have these features, and my face is, I'm able to control my face. People say I have, I guess, a Jim Carrey face, how much control he has, although I'm not nearly as talented as that man. Of course, Jim is a phenomenal talent, but I can control my face in a way, and I can do the big smile with the eyebrows and all that kind of stuff. And I'll have people come up to me, and ask me like, I love your prosthetics. And I'll be like, I don't wear prosthetics. There's just makeup. And, they're like, oh, that's awesome. They're like, your face is really scary, man. And I was like, I get told that as a compliment all the time. And I was like, that's like weirdly not a compliment. Like, but it is. It is a compliment. I take it. I just find it. They're like, dude, man, that's so awesome. You're so scary looking. I was like, that's my face. But so I think that's what kind of led into the Joker. Also, I just have kind of the frame of Joker's. Normally, I'm bigger. Like for Joker right now, we're doing Dynasty. We did an Indiegogo, and for Batman Joker short film that is actually still running right now. It's called Dying is Easy, and it's all dialogue based between Batman and Joker. Which is, of course, Kevin Porter will play Batman, and he is, to me, the definitive Batman at 6'5", 240. He's got the voice. He's got everything. He's a life-size Batman. He has the look and size of Ben Affleck, but a little bigger, and he has the voice of Kevin Conroy, but I think a little better only because it's a live-action portrayal. Plus, Kevin, I guess, he's physically bigger than Kevin Conroy, so he just has a bigger rib cage. Therefore, I think has more of a natural voice. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of fans will fight me on that, but I'm not in any way disrespecting Kevin Conroy. Just because you like one thing doesn't mean you don't like another thing.
Exactly.
But you can like everything. But I have to lose weight for Joker because normally, I'll do Spider-Man and Nightwing, and for Dragon Prime, I'm 6 foot, so I want my weight to be around like 185, like super lean, all muscle. But for Joker, I like to be about 150 because you just look really skinny and gone. And I'm getting down. I'm about 155 right now. So I had to kick off another 5 pounds. So my body lends itself. I just hate being skinny though, but so I don't. So after like being the Joker, I was like, no, so I have to lose like 15, 20 pounds of muscle. I was like, it's horrible because I'm like hungry all the time, and I can't lift things that I normally can lift. I was like, oh, I'll get that for you, Mom. And I was like, oh, that's heavy. What happened? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I lost some of my muscle. So I much rather be like Nightwing or Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's a little more fun. But as far as Joker though, I think Joker's a much more unique performance, and I think he's a wonderful character to play with. And it's always such an honor when fans say how much they like my Joker and compare me to Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger or Joaquin, who all those people are light years beyond me. Those guys, they're all Oscar-winning actors, you know. So just to be in the same sentence with them, I'm like, that's more than humbling.
Oh yeah.
So. But it's a great character, and so I like playing him, and it's just fun. I like that world. Like when I watch it back, I have more fun watching. It's like, oh, this is great. That's a great Joker, but I forget that it's like me, like as a director and a creator. I'm like, that's cool. But then I think like, man, I was so hungry when we shot the scene.
You're on your sandwich. But that's so cool, man, that you're able to be in this world, like you said, to go from just one little small thing to, now I think you have over 2 million subscribers on YouTube. So that's an amazing feat, by the way. I think that's so cool that you're able to turn your passion into something that you can just, drive with and make these cool movies, meet these cool people who, some of us grew up watching. I remember being in the 90s, growing up watching Jason David Frank play the Green Ranger. But,
right, yeah.
It's so cool that you get to do all this, man. You get to live the nerd dream, essentially. So that's amazing. But I know, we don't, I want to ask one more question before we end this. We always like to ask, here on Get Your Geek On, like, what makes you geek? And I know we've said comic books and we've talked about superheroes. Is there anything else that you do that you consider nerdy? Like, do you play video games, read other books, or are you a big movie buff, like just sitting back and watching all these other movies out there?
Well, here's kind of a strange thing. So I grew up, in high school when like nerd was a bad word. That wasn't a good word. It was a bad word.
Yeah.
And my always thought was like, nerd was like, you're into like just certain things, which was never accurate. You know, they always like try to pigeonhole you. So like, there's a lot of like, we were talking about facets. I like all different kinds of, different things in that world. Like, comic books, you know, my dad got me into comic books. Obviously I got into the other side of things, like the X-Men animated series and the, you know, Keaton Batman. You know, that's my generation. That's what we grew up with. And I'm assuming you're probably the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love all kinds of movies being a filmmaker, you know, like Star Wars or, you know, obviously all those things. I mean, there's certain things that I'm just not, like I never really got into Harry Potter. I never really got into Star Trek. Once again, not saying they're bad. I think they're great. They're wonderful. You know, it's hard to be all in on a lot of things. Cause like, really, you know, like comic books and X-Men and cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons. Like I know a lot of, you know, about that. I'm really big into action figures. I'm really big into collectibles, statues, different things, you know. My room, people come over and they're like, oh, like, does a 10-year-old live in here? And I'd be like, no, this is my room. I like toys. Like, I'm sorry, you know, if you don't like my room, don't come over to my house.
Right.
But, so I got a whole room for superheroes. I got a whole room for the Beatles. And then I got a whole room for like Arnold movies and Tom Brady.
There you go.
Things that you end up liking, all very diverse, you know, so it just depends.
Well, that's really cool.
But, it's fun. I played card games also as a kid. Overpower, that was a big game back in the 90s.
Oh my gosh.
Superhero based, which
I love that game. I used to play it too.
Yeah, like that was a big thing, kind of partially influenced Beatdown. I ended up going to the championship game 2 years in a row, lost one, won the other, played in the regionals. I was ranked number 1 in the country in the game. Actually, I was like 12, so that was like a really big precursor to Beatdown and stuff. But and I played video games as a kid. I haven't played very many games recently. I play Mario Kart. That's like the only one I play still. I just don't really have time to play them, but whenever I like watching them. Like that's a lot of fun, and multiplayer is fun. I like playing with my friends. But I guess I did the motion capture for the games, for the Spider-Man games, and I'd like to do more of that. So, but they're all fun. It's just you just got to pick it which one makes you excited. You know, whether you like anime or you like video games or role playing. There's certain things I was like, I was never exposed to that, you know?
Yeah.
But they're all wonderful though. Anything that makes you happy, that doesn't hurt yourself or hurt other people, by all means, do it.
Exactly. I feel you on that, man. That's so cool though. Like you know, like I said, you got to do all this, and I do definitely want to thank you for your time and thank you for talking to us. And you know, hopefully everybody can go to YouTube, check out Bat in the Sun, as well as go to Kickstarter. I think there's about 5 days left as this comes out.
There's 5 days. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool rewards in there. You can actually, you know, you get like a helmet that was, you know, worn by Jason, signed by him. You can get, you know, you get the Blu-ray DVD, you get a signed poster from the cast. You get invited to the premiere, and like our ultimate big, you know, tier number 10, our top tier is you can actually get a co-producer credit and come to set and hang out on set with everyone and watch the actual magic being made, you know. So every tier includes the previous tier before that. We try to really offer as much as we could in there, you know, so while still having enough to make the movie. But a lot of cool stuff. So definitely anyone that's listening that is a big fan of the stuff that wants to join in on stuff, a lot of cool stuff on Kickstarter. It's called the White Dragon, and it's join us on this journey. It's been really cool to do Kickstarter because I've been really against about doing actually like fundraising stuff until this year, and then I've been like all about it because I didn't really, we just self-funded everything. Like the Beatdowns cost generally anywhere between like $20,000 to $50,000 to make.
Oh wow!
And that was all just that was all self-funded, and we just put it in ourselves. You know, people were like, hey, you want to redo your kitchen? I was like, no, I want to have Batman fight Darth Vader. I was like, why not? Right? Like a kitchen comes and goes. I was like, Batman versus Vader. That's going to stay.
Exactly.
So, but then like, you know, and YouTube, you know, YouTube has a little bit of revenue charge, but it never like, not enough to, we're always under on or over, under. We don't make any money off the videos is what I'm trying to say. We always had to like put on our own stuff from other places because we just like doing it. It's just like people buy statues or go on trips. We make films, but But what's been cool though about this though is doing the Kickstarter and the Indiegogo and our Patreon is that you actually get to interact with your fans so much, because all your like these really hardcore true fans like step up, and then you form relationships with them and you get to know them, and they enjoy the process, which makes you like enjoy what you do more. So it's like it becomes just so much more of like a gratifying experience on all fronts, which is really, really cool.
That's amazing. So, yeah. That's good that you get the, like you said, you get to be able to fund these kind of things with the Kickstarters and with these crowdfunded programs. I mean, for someone to find you guys, is it easier just to go to Kickstarter and type in Bat in the Sun, or what's the easiest way to find all of it?
I mean, on Kickstarter, you would just go to the White Dragon. For Indiegogo, Batman Dying is easy. Or you can just go to any one of the social medias and just type in Bat in the Sun. We're all on there. So.
Well, hopefully everyone will be able to come out there and try to fund it. Like I said, looks like there's 5 days still left, so hopefully everyone will be able to help give you guys some more money to help out, because I really want to see this White Dragon after watching the trailer and talking with you about it, man, and seeing these posters that you guys are posting on there. I'm excited for this. Yeah,
the more we raise, the more cool stuff we can do, so it should be pretty cool, so we've raised a lot, but at the same time, when you look at like the Flash on CW, each one of those episodes costs $3 to $4 million. So we're so far from that, but I promise you, just like the Beatdowns, we will deliver something equal, if not better. That's the goal. So the more we raise, the more awesome stuff we can create, for you guys. So.
Heck yeah. And I can't wait, man. Again, thank you so much for your time and, talking with us about this. And everyone, please go check out Bat in the Sun on their social medias. Go check out the White Dragon and get this thing funded so we could see Jason David Frank fighting again. I would love to see that, man. And again, thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Of course. You're welcome, Aaron.
Thank you. And thank you guys for listening. Again, this is Get Your Geek On. Go to our facebook.com/officialgygo to check us out, and, keep geeky, guys.